Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Astrology Today. My name is Mel Rose, and I'm here to share your daily aspects. Today is Tuesday, May 17, 2022. Sun is in Taurus for a few more days. This has been a time of growth, of becoming grounded in what is familiar and in what sustains us. And in this, the final week of the Sun's transit through Taurus, we're going to notice those themes of growth and seeking sustenance, pulling in the resources that we need, a little more amplified at this time. As the Sun moves toward the exit, Uranus will remain in Taurus through 2026. So the shakeups in our supply chain for resources are far from over. There's strength and flexibility at this time. North Node will remain transiting Taurus until July of next year, keeping us habitually focused on the gathering of material resources for our own security and flexibility. The waning gibbous moon is in Sagittarius all day, bringing in a sense of adventure, idealism, and positivity to our hearts and homes. During the week following the full moon, we may continue to celebrate our achievements, and we'll also begin to look back on how things went for us over the past few weeks. Specifically, the question we ask is, what didn't work? Or, in other words, what would I like to see go better next time? Having answered those questions in time for the third quarter moon this Sunday, we can then begin to release and dispose of the things that no longer serve us. I'm going to get right into the aspects, but first I will point out the handcrafted key on the right-hand side of the page. Most of the symbols on the page have made it into the key, so if you desire a point of reference, it's right over here. I've otherwise divided the page into two columns, one for each of our luminaries. The moon is the luminary that sheds light on our inner lives. This is your relationship with yourself, what it feels like for you to be in your body, heart, and mind, and in your home. The transits and aspects the moon makes are all very brief, and they have a subtle impact on those things you think, feel, know, and intuit, but may choose whether to express. The sun is the luminary that sheds light on our outer lives. This is our outward expression of ourselves in the world, specifically in your work, social, and civic spaces. I address the sun and the rest of the planet's movements on this side because these have a greater effect on that outward expression. And we begin on the moon side today, friends, Central Standard Time at 10:31 this morning. The moon goes trine to Venus. Taurus, Cancer, and Libra have ruling signs here. Ideal, positive, functioning vibrations between our self and our ability to attract what we desire. Our pulling power is all the way on at this time, friends, so use your powers for good. Then a minute later at 10:32 this morning, moon reaches its perigee, or its farthest point from the earth. This represents a relative lack of attachment to how we feel or what is going on at home. Not that we lack those attachments, but that it can be less intense for us than at other times. Moon will reach its apogee, or closest point to earth, in about 2 weeks, and so that intensity sort of exists on a scale between those 2 points. Late tonight at 10:51, moon goes square to Mars. Aries, Cancer, Scorpio. There may be something we're resolved to take action on at home, but things may come up that challenge our ability to move forward. You don't have to allow yourself to be stopped. Then 8 minutes later at 10:59, moon goes square to Neptune. So Cancer and Pisces. This can be a somewhat paranoid or fearful vibration. We don't know if we can trust our intuitive senses, and it's possible at this time that we cannot. Don't trust your hunches, seek evidence, or wait for the truth to be revealed. And then also at 10:59, I didn't put the times in for any of those. This was 10:51, 10:59, and then also at 10:59 this evening, moon goes sextile to Saturn. Cancer, Capricorn, and Aquarius have rulers here. We reach a more cooperative vibe between how we feel and what we have to do. Taken all together, these three overlapping lunar aspects tell a story of sorts. We have responsibilities in the home or regarding our close relationships. We want to take care of business, but our initiative may be thwarted in some way by misperception or lack of understanding. Mercury is retrograde, and it can take patience to get clear about what is happening, what is needed or expected, or how to move forward. But don't be deceived. Act on your responsibilities in good faith. On the sun's side today at 1:33 this afternoon, Mars goes conjunct to Neptune. So you see how we just had this moment, actually later in the evening, where we will have this moment where our initiative could be thwarted by our misapprehension of the situation. Now these two planets here are conjunct. See that? Through the 21st, lending us the drive to act on what we perceive, drive to act and what we perceive. The question is, what do you habitually perceive with your creative mind? What do you normally imagine? So, if you're the kind of person who regularly imagines that people are unkind, you may become paranoid and start to act on that paranoia. If you are the kind of person who regularly imagines that the world is a kind place, full of people with good intentions, you can become sympathetic to others and start to act from that place of compassion. This is why it's important to train ourselves to have an optimistic and loving outlook in life. Our unconscious biases can make all the difference when we're spurred into action. In the ongoing column today, through the 22nd of May, Sun sextile Neptune. As always, these transits apply to everyone, but Taurus and Leo and Pisces are most likely to notice this. This is positive cooperative functioning between our consciousness and our capacity to connect energetically with others. We can be quite psychic at this time, so write down your predictions. It's also a good time to create art or anything else that you're going to create from the imagination. Through May 23rd, 2-3, Sun is square to Saturn, Taurus, Leo, Capricorn, Aquarius. This brings some consciousness of being restricted by the confines of our outer life commitments. Square energies come up to test our resolve, though, and we must rise to the challenge by handling our responsibilities like we said that we would. Mercury sextile Jupiter will be with us through May 28. Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces, most likely to notice this one. With Mercury retrograde, I view this as an opportunity to review the expanded plans for our own growth and increase. So, the big plan is probably going to include a lot of smaller plans, right? For example, if you want to do business at a market, you first have to establish what you'll pay to be there, what materials you need to set up, what you're going to charge, and how you're going to take money. These smaller bites can be attended to, especially if you've already set your intentions in place before the Mercury retrograde. Look ahead, try to do things in a good order so that there isn't just one piece holding the rest back. Mercury is in retrograde through June 3, and I recognize I got these a little out of order. The apparent backward motion of our planet for analysis and communications can bring about shakeups in our ability to say what we mean and get where we're trying to go. These things are often less easy for us at this time, so go slow, friends. Be patient with yourself and others. Consider it an opportunity to practice Mercury's soft skills like watching, paying attention, waiting for the right moment to move. Sun sextile Mars will be in aspect through the 4th of June. Aries, Taurus, Leo, and Scorpio have ruling planets here. This influence wants us to feel alive and juiced up with energy to act, to pursue, to satisfy our physical drives, lending us power and speed in the forward direction of the stuff we seek to achieve. I think this is ideal for this sort of big picture, small bites approach. Mars wants to complete a simple, straightforward task and keep moving. The Sun sextile here is cooperating to hold our focus on those short-term goals that add up to pull the long-term goals together. And Mercury trine Pluto is here through June 19. Gemini, Virgo, and Scorpio would be most impacted here. Now that Mercury is retrograde, the guidance is to pay attention, pay close attention, or listen in a deep way to what your senses are telling you about the endings and beginnings that are coming up for you, or those that are already present in your life. Pay attention to your intuitive impressions at this time, and they can be useful in strategizing your approach to big changes. So I just want to point out that you've got two different things here saying trust your psychic impressions, pay attention to your intuitive impressions, trust your gut, okay? Trust your guidance and intuition at this time. Pluto is also retrograde at this time through October 8th. Pluto is retrograde 6 months out of the year and direct 6 months out of the year. So all the time we're going through transformations, we are evolving. This is a slow process that takes a lot of little changes and a lot of seeking to grow, planning to move forward, right? So, either we're transforming in the outer life or we're transforming in the inner life. We're all going through these transformations most of the time, all the time. So, just understand that this is the time of inner transformation through October 8th. And so it's a time to really be paying attention to the intuitive and even emotional impact that the things that we're doing and being engaged in and trying to get done have on our lives. Pluto in retrograde is also a time when things that don't work, like bad habits, toxicity in our relationships, poor money management, those things will be painfully clear to us. They'll say, oh, we have to bring this to an end and start something new. Not to worry, we have loads of initiative and momentum on our side at this time. The transformation is here for us all, and with a little planning, we can get through it. Thursday, the sun goes sextile to Pluto, bringing the healing light of day to something deeply held or covered up. This Friday, sun makes ingress to Gemini, bringing our focus around to our ability to share and communicate. And then next Sunday, we'll see the third quarter moon in Pisces. And Mercury in retrograde will back itself up into Taurus that day. And that's it for today's astrology, friends. Thank you all so much for being here. Please like my video, subscribe, click the notifications bell. I post here every day, and I wouldn't want you to miss a thing. And friends, I appreciate it very much when you comment to ask questions and provide encouragement. I see you doing it. I feel encouraged. I try to be engaged with you all. It isn't just gratifying for me to know that you're listening, but it lets YouTube know that you're engaged in the content, and that helps me out as well. So thank you very much for that. Also, if you know anyone else for whom this guidance may resonate, I encourage you to share. Sharing is caring. If you feel like you're getting good information, you know somebody else who finds astrology interesting, I encourage you to share it with them. Now I'm going to take a couple of minutes to talk about Tarot as it relates to astrology today. First, I'll discuss the Tarot card that sits on the side of the page here, and then I'll do a quick rundown of today's astrology before throwing a random card that hopefully speaks to today's energies. So let's go ahead and get into that. The Tarot card sitting on the side of the page today is the Seven of Pentacles, and astrologically it relates directly to the third 10 days or the last 10 days of the sun's transit through Taurus. This is an appropriate link up. Taurus is our fixed earth sign. This is very much, Pentacles are very much earth, and earth is about your physical resources in the world, starting with your body and the things that you have, and also including your wealth and your finances, like the material stuff that you have that you can exchange for other material stuff, right? The resources that you require to feel supported and protected in your life. So, Seven of Pentacles really points to a time when we've put in a lot of hard work, okay? And through diligence and through perseverance and through, real attention to our big plan, our big plan has come to a point where it almost has its full value for us, but it's not quite there. If you think about it in terms of like growing a garden, you've given your seedlings good earth, and they've put down roots, and they have responded to the water and the sunlight and the earth that you've given them, those resources resources that they've been able to draw in because you provided them, to grow into something that is strong and healthy and nearly ripe, but not quite ready, right? So when we get to that point where the plan is nearly ripe, it's nearly ready, but it's not quite there yet, there can be this sort of moment of impatience, like, this is where the doubts come in. Like, is this even going to work? Is it really going to have the value for me that I want it to have? I've put in all this hard work. Am I going to be disappointed down the line? Should I just give up now? And this is a turning point of sorts, because you could just say, I've done all this work and it hasn't borne me any proper fruit yet, and I'm tired of waiting, or I don't feel like I can wait anymore, so I'm going to go do something else, right? And if you ignore what you have already made here, then that fruit is going to rot on the vine, and it won't have the value for you that it should. But also, if you go ahead and try to harvest it, if you try to enact your plans before they are fully ready, then they won't have the value for you that they should either. So it takes a little bit more patience, and it also takes a little bit more hard work and determination to make sure that those plans come into their fullness before we enact them, before make sure our fruits are ripe before we try to enjoy them, right? So this is not the time to reap the benefit of the work that you've done. This is the time to focus in and continue working, even though you'd almost rather be doing something else by this point. And with all of that said, I am going to go ahead and shuffle some cards while I remind myself and the cards that the sun is in Taurus. The sun has been in Taurus since April 21st, and this is the time again where we put down roots and we grow strong. We draw in the resources that are required for us to feel abundant and supported and protected in our lives. And the Uranus has been in Taurus for a few years and will continue to be in Taurus for a few more years. So this represents sort of a changeable nature to the stuff that we like, love, and can't get enough of. And it's not that what we love changes, although it can. What we need and desire changes, but also it's that how you source those things, how you get those things, how you draw those things into you. Remember, Taurus is ruled by Venus. It's about receptive quality, okay? How you draw toward you the things that you need and desire, might be changing. So like you might have to go to different stores to get different things, where you used to be able to rely on one source. Now you have to, change up your sources from time to time to make sure you're getting what you need. And that's just something that's been in play for a while and is going to continue to be in play for a while. So remain flexible, friends. However, the North Node is helping us out here. North Node will be in Taurus through July of next year. And that is that thing that we sort of go after with sort of an unblinking assertiveness. Okay, like the stuff that we go after. North Node represents where we're going, what we're getting after, almost to the exclusion of all other things. And so when North Node is in Taurus, again, it's about going after those things that we like to receive that help us feel stable and secure and able to grow strong in our lives. So that helps us out with that sort of changing landscape. We've sort of gotten into this stable flow of, yes, well, if the resource has changed, if the source of the resource has changed, then we're going to go ahead and get it anyway. It gives us that sort of singular drive and focus to get our needs met. The moon is a waning gibbous now, 2 days past the full moon in Sagittarius. And waning gibbous is a time when we sort of, we're still celebrating our accomplishments a little bit. We begin to sort of look back and review, say, how did that go for me? And what would I not like to repeat? What did not work, and how can I maybe do that better in the future? So we're looking back and we're sort of looking ahead at the same time too. Moon in Sagittarius is a time when we are a little more adventurous. We are open to new learning. We would love to get out and travel around even and just sort of gain some further insight and truth. I say insight, but I really mean sort of outward sight, a sort of vision of the world around us that helps us understand some universal truths. On the moon side of the page today, it's funny, we had these sort of clumped together aspects come in at 10:31 and 10:32, the moon went trine with Venus, saying, hey, whatever it is you want, you can ask for it and probably get it at this time. But also moon went perigee, so we're a little less emotional about getting what we want. And that might that might have something to do with our pulling power at this time. Like maybe, we can ask for what we need and desire, but not feel so attached to it that we seem needy or grasping at this time. That trine influence says, really just go and get it, ask for it, and you will receive. And then this evening at 10:51 and then at 10:59 for two of these aspects, moon was square to Mars, square to Neptune. Well, Mars and Neptune are going to conjunct, so that makes sense. And then sextile to Saturn. So moon was square to Saturn a couple of days ago, saying, oh, I have these responsibilities. I don't know if I can meet them, but of course we have to surmount the square. We have to surmount the challenge, remember our resolve, and go ahead and do what we said we were going to do. So, this says to me that I can be deceived into being stopped, right, into not making progress on the stuff that I said that I would do. But this says, actually you have good positive functioning to achieve the things that you have committed to doing. So don't let this stuff get in your way. Seek the truth, be resolved to act, and go ahead and take care of those responsibilities in the heart and home. On the sun side of the page, Mars goes conjunct to Neptune this afternoon, and we begin to act on what we perceive through our connection to the rest of humanity, to spirit. Okay, so it's more of an intuitive and creative vibration, that connection that I'm talking about. That is the perception I'm talking about. And when Mars is conjunct, that's like a pressurized, amplified, our will to act, and pressurized and amplified sort of our creative, imaginative way of being. So, we are almost compelled to act on what we perceive. And so it's just a matter of what you perceive. And like I said, if you want to perceive things and people as being habitually bad and stuff doesn't work out, then we're going to act in the direction of that perception, and we're probably going to behave in a way that doesn't pull us closer to our goals, right? Whereas if we want to perceive the world in a way where people are kind and generally have good intentions, then we don't have to act on paranoia. We can act on our compassion for others, and we can move forward toward our bigger, better idea of ourselves with those actions. And then the rest of the ongoing stuff is mostly Sun and Mercury. So Sun is sextile with Neptune. Trust your psychic impressions. And down here, Mercury trine with Pluto says trust your gut too. So really be trusting your perception at this time. Be trusting what it says to you. And then, you have this power to act. I say Mercury sextile Jupiter, strategize the big plan, break it down into smaller plans. And this way with Sun sextile Mars, you can sort of take those small bites. You can act on those smaller parts of the plan, do them in a certain kind of order so that one isn't holding the rest of them back. And you can definitely get a long way toward your goals if you go ahead and take the small bites. Attend those responsibilities, even if something comes up to challenge you and try to stop you. And just a reminder, Mercury is retrograde. We have backward brains at this time. We got to be patient with ourselves and others. The logic just isn't flowing, and the rationality isn't flowing as easily for us as it usually does. So we don't have that speed and directness on our side at this time. We really have to sort of watch and wait and look for our moment. And Pluto in retrograde, inner transformations at this time. Think about the things that you're going through, the things that you are taking action on, the plans you are making, and even the things that threaten to stop you. Think about the impact those have on you in a deeply emotional or intuitive way. And with all of that said, I'm going to go ahead and turn this card over. The Fool, friends. One of the things I love about the Fool, everything in Tarot has a number. So, for example, this is the Seven of Pentacles, right? So it's got a number. And even in the Major Arcana, which Fool is a Major Arcana card, everything has a number, but the Fool is a 0. The Fool does not have his own number. He's not even on the scale of things that are happening in the world, okay? So, the Fool just sort of acts on their perception of what they think might be good next. It's very beginner mind. It's like, I have this sort of innocence about me. I don't really know what is on the other end of this journey, but I have an idea of where I'm trying to go with this journey, and I understand that I know nothing, but I'm going to go ahead and move forward anyway, right? Sometimes the only way to learn is to get started on what it is that you're trying to do, or get started going where you're trying to go, right? The Fool would like the small bites approach to the big plan, right? The Fool doesn't want, they might have a big plan in mind, but they might appreciate it if you could break it down into smaller things that they could take care of along the way. The Fool does trust their gut and their psychic impressions, okay? But the Fool is not necessarily good at attending responsibilities. That can be a way that we get stopped, is that, like, hey, I just want to be over there now, and I'm just off on this tangent, right? So whatever my responsibilities were, those are behind me, right? No, we still have to rise to the challenge of meeting our responsibilities. And the Fool is definitely on a path of transformation. Definitely, in fact, has reached some point of completion and then is starting over in some way. So endings and beginnings are very much part of the Fool's life, especially the beginning part. Fool's like right in between the ending and the beginning. So, it's a good place to be. I talk about beginner's mind, and that's a Buddhist concept that just says, like when we're children, we have this innocence about us. We don't expect things to be a certain way for us. We kind of expect things to be different and new all the time. We expect to not have all the information as we're moving forward into our days and our lives. And this can be a helpful way to be when we're getting started. When we have a new plan, we have a new, bigger, expanded idea of what our lives can be, do, and have. It can be really helpful just to be understanding of how little you know, and also still bold and ready to take action and move forward. So, Fool is kind of a go for it card, with the caveat that you understand that you don't know what you're doing. Taken in context with the Seven of Pentacles, this is a person who has a little bit more experience. They have done the steps, right? And they have not come to a complete culmination. So it still can be helpful to have sort of like I said, a beginner's mind about this. It can still be helpful to be somewhat innocent to what you think is going to happen next, as long as you understand that there's still work to be done. There's still forward motion to do. We still have responsibilities that we have to take care of. And I believe that's all I have to say about that today, friends. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate your presence with me. My name is Mel Rose, and I'll see you all back here tomorrow for more Astrology Today.